This video is to help you with some of the problems that we were working through on CR23 that we didn't have time to get to. I have to be out of school on Friday at a conference, but I wanted to be able to help you with the last couple of, the last several problems that you needed some support with. So I'm going to start with number 12. I'm going to hop around a little bit, and I'll probably break this up into a few videos, so you're going to have to watch, maybe a second or third video to support you on this. But here's number 12 on CR23. It says Bonita spent $8.94 on groceries. She bought a gallon of milk for $4.29 and 3 pounds of sliced turkey. How much does 1 pound of turkey cost? Okay, I don't personally have a calculator here at home, so I'm going to work it out longhand. You can always use a calculator to support you. The total she spent on groceries was $8.94. Of that $8.94, she bought a gallon of milk for $4.29. And then she spent the rest of her money on turkey. And the rest of her money was spent on 3 pounds of turkey. They want to know the price for 1 pound. Well, first of all, we better take our total and subtract off how much she spent on milk. That'll give me the amount of money total that she spent on the turkey. So we have $8.94 total she spent. I need to take off $4.29 in milk. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract. You can use your calculator for support, but I don't have one at home. So can't subtract 9 from 4. Borrow from this 9, make this 9 and 8. This becomes a 14. 14 minus 9 is 5. 8 minus 2 is 6. Bring down your decimal point. And here 8 minus 4 is 4. So that means she spent a total of $4.65 on 3 pounds of turkey. So once you know how much she spent on 3 pounds of turkey, we're going to be able to figure out how much she spent on just 1 pound of turkey. There's lots of ways to go about this, but I could do money over pounds equals money over pounds. That way, if you're a student who says, I'm not sure whether to multiply or divide at this point, if you set up a proportion, you won't have to think about it. You know she spends $4.65 on 3 pounds of turkey. So $4.65 on 3 pounds of turkey. How much money on just 1 pound of turkey? Then, once you have this set up, you can say, how do I get from 3 to 1? Oh, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So then we must have to do 465 divided by 3, because whatever you do to the denominator, you also do to the numerator. So that setup of that proportion just told us, oh, this is a division problem. I need to take 3 and divide it into 465. Again, more than welcome to use your calculator. I don't have one at home with me. So I say, right here, I bring this decimal point right up, and then I just don't even have to think about it again. 3 goes into 4 once. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract off. 4 minus 3 is 1. Drag down that 6. 3 goes into 16 5 times. I put that 5 right above the 6. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract off. 16 minus 15 is 1. Drag down that 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. That means she must have spent $1.55 on 1 pound of turkey. There you have it. Number 12 is letter B. I hope that helps. I'm going to go on. I'm going to skip around. So the next one I'm going to try is 15. I'm going to do 12, 15, 16, and then stop this video and start a different one. Oops. Sorry about that. Let me go back. Let me go back to 15. It says, according to the chart, out of 200,000 voters, how many do you predict will vote for the incumbent? So they give us this chart, and they took a poll, and they polled 500 voters. So if I added these numbers up, 250 plus 107 plus 143, I would get the 500 voters that they polled. And we want to predict how many out of 200,000 would vote for the incumbent. So here in our poll, we know 250 voted for the incumbent out of 500. This is just a part over total. So if we know 250 out of 500, 250 polled out of the 500 total polled voted for the incumbent, we can predict how many out of 200,000 would vote for that incumbent. So the whole key is the 200,000 the part or the total? That's the total number of voters. And we're wondering what part of those voters would go ahead and vote for the incumbent. So I personally, you might not think to do this, I would simplify this. 250 out of 500 is 1/2. So I know my final answer will be half of 200,000, but as a student, you might not think to do that. So what you might say is, how do I get from 500 to 200,000? And so you'd have to take 200,000 divided by 500 on your calculator. I don't have a calculator with me, so I'm going to go ahead and long divide. So 500 goes into 2,000. 5 times 4 is 20, so it must be 500 times 4 is 2,000. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract off. So that zeroes out. We drag down a 0. How many times 500 go into 0? Oh, 0 times. 0 times 500 is 0. Subtract off. Drag down this 0. How many times 500 go into 0? 0 times. So you must have to take 500 times 400 to get to 200,000. Therefore, we have to take 250 times 400 to find out the part of the voters that would vote for the incumbent in the actual election. A poll is just a small part of the voters, a small portion of people you ask, and then you can make some predictions. All right, so we have to do 250 times 400. These two zeros, you can quickly, because I don't have a calculator with me, so I know I can just tack down those two zeros. Then I start in the 100 place, because this is 100. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. Put down a 0, carry a 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and 2 more is 10. So when we multiply those, we come up with 100,000. So 100,000 out of 200,000 should vote for the incumbent. And I knew that right off the bat because 250 is half of 500. Therefore, if I take half of 200,000, I get 100,000. So I would have been able to think that through. And maybe that's how you went about it also. I'm going to do one more on this video, and then I'm going to break and do a different video. So let's go ahead and look at number 16. It says, Ginger showed Sharonda the following table of the amounts of money that Ginger earned babysitting. When Ginger worked 3 hours, she earned $24 babysitting. When she worked 4 hours, she earned $32. When she worked 5 hours, she earned $40. How should Sharonda determine how much Ginger earned for each hour? Well, you could always set up your ratio. Amount earned over hours worked would be equal to your amount earned over hours worked. Because a lot of times students say to me, I don't know, should I multiply, should I divide? And if you set up a proportion, you don't even have to think about it. You just take any one of these dollars amounts. So you have $24 earned if you work 3 hours. So that fact goes on one side of your proportion. And they care about how much you earn each hour. Each hour would be money for just 1 hour of work. That's what it means. If you make $24 in 3 hours, I'm wondering how much money do I make in just 1 hour? And at that point, you could say, oh, I take my number of hours, 3. How do I get down to 1? 3 divided by 3 is 1. If I'm going to divide my denominator by 3, I also have to divide my numerator by 3. 24 divided by 3, that person must make $8 per hour. So we took this 24 to get our final answer. We took our 24 and divided by 3 to figure out it was $8 per hour. And so I look back, 24 was the amount of money earned, and I divided that by 3 was the hours worked. So I took my money earned divided by the hours worked, and I got the amount per hour that I made, the money per hour that I made. So let's see. Do you subtract the number of hours from the amount earned? No. We took the amount earned, 24, we divided by the hours worked. Do you multiply the amount earned by Nope. We set up a proportion to help us with this. Do you divide the amount earned by the number of hours worked? Yup. That's how you find the amount you earn per hour. You take the amount you earn and divide by however many hours you've worked. And then the final one said to add. That doesn't make sense. Take the amount earned, divide by the hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this video and then start a new one for some of the other problems you needed some support with. I hope this helps.